Have you ever gone on a blind date where, within the first 5 minutes, the lady receives a call from a hospital or an urgent WhatsApp from her suicidal friend, both situations eliciting a speedy response from this angel of humanity, the long-lost sister of Atlas, who takes the burden of the world on her shoulders, leaving you high and dry at the pub? If yes, then it's just one of those cases where a blind date turned judge, jury, executioner rolled into one, walked out on you using one of the million tricks she has learned through advisors. Today, the number of write-ups and tips for women on the emotional, psychological and fatal dangers of blind dating are available by the dozen. And one question that my friends, needless to add, male friends, have often pondered upon is this: has anyone ever bothered to advise men on how to escape a bad blind date? Are bad blind dates only a woman's nightmare? Has anyone spared a thought for what men stuck with blind date go through? I couldn't agree with them more as we sat for a drink at the pub. With every sip that went in, their pent-up feelings rose to the surface. Considering the skewed female forward/male ratio of 946/1000, there are more tips than there are women out there, just as there are always more cushions than sofas in their houses, one of them said. Considering we live in a world of feminists, feminazis, bridezillas, besides other not so desirable women, why are there so few articles or agony uncles to advise us, men, on how to wriggle out of murky waters? Another complained. If this is the age of equality, then why are there such limited remedies for men? After all, there are enough women who dress badly, smell like kitchen, speak loudly, dress garishly, or are disgustingly starved, like models, or visibly overweight like Kate Winslet, whom one meets for blind dates. Came another shot from a close friend, who had apparently been traumatized by the experience. As woeful stories poured out from all quarters that evening, I realized what a gamble blind dates can be for both sides. But from the bits and pieces of information I gathered from my group, I understood that to be fair to them, they also deserved to be extensively advised on how to deal with bad blind dates. In my opinion, it is the need of the hour to have ubiquitous tips for men to deal with blind dates, instead of so few out there. My male fraternity needs it as much as women do. This is what my friend Ajay, who recently had a series of bad blind dates, had to say. It's crazy how unprepared you feel when you find yourself in a blind date going bad situation. Some of them have only their ex-boyfriends to discuss, or the other women in the vicinity who are predictably fat, poorly dressed and wearing cheap makeup. What can a hapless man do in such a situation? Should he display lack of chivalry and stage a walkout, or should he go on a dharna or give her a piece of his mind and leave her to pay the bill? As they kept discussing the pros and cons of the above-mentioned options, I realized that for all the chatter of this being a man's world, men really had no one to go to for answers except friends like us, which, in a way, is like blind leading the blind. But the fact is, men too need a long list of tips on how to walk out of a bad blind date.